Welcome back to the 12 Days of Wolfmas. This is day number 9, and through the first 8 episodes, we're up a whopping 69.40. I can't believe I'm saying that, and I'm giving it all away to you guys. All the info is in the middle of the video, but as for now, we take a quick trip over to Nassau in the Bahamas. I'm playing at the WSOP at Atlantis, and I found some time to film Wolfmas number 9 here. It's a 2-5 cash game. I'm in for $1,000. In the first hand of the night, I raise it up to $40 over a $10 straddle. I look down at pocket ochos, and there's a few callers over to the straddler who decides to defend. So we're going 4 ways to the flop here with pocket 8s, and it comes pretty good. 4-4-3 rainbow. Out of position against a bunch of opponents, I usually could start with a check, but given the fact that I have an overpair here and I don't want to see any card higher than a 10, I decided to bet out here for $80, and everybody folds. So even though everyone folds on the flop, we're still taking down $250, which sounds like a good consolation prize. Alright, King 10 offsuit now, and an opponent makes it $15. I decide to 3-bet him, and I go for a 4x sizing up to $60. The opponent puts in the call, which brings in the flop, which comes Jack 6-5 rainbow. Could either check it out of position to him, or go for a patented Cinco de Mayo bet, $55, which is of course what I decide to do. The opponent puts in the call, and the turn now gives me a pair, to which I slow down and check. He touches his ear and then jams all in for 170. Is he a third base coach on an MLB team trying to give a sign, or is he just nervous in this spot? Well, I'm not gonna let that slide. I decide to call his $170 jam. Sure, I just have second pair, but he could have a lot of bluffs here like king queen, some spade draws, maybe 7-8 suited. So I decide to put in the call, and the river card comes pretty great for us in case he does have a good hand. It comes a 10 of diamonds. He looks like he's gonna muck his card, so I table my trips knowing I'm good here, and it was a great call on the turn. Even a pair of 10s would have taken this pot down against his draw. $575 being shipped over my way. Now let's play a pot here with the ladies, pocket queens, and the same opponent makes it $20 to go. Seems like a pretty great spot to go for an $80 raise here out of the small blind. That's what I decide to do, and he puts in the call. All right, heads up to a flop here, which comes ace king for all spades. I decide to go for a puny bet of $20, and he snap calls me, and the turn comes the 9 of spades, giving me the nut flush. $205 in the middle, and I size up now to $40, and my opponent folds his card. So even though I went small there for $40, I couldn't eke out a little bit of extra value. Alright, the straddle's on for 10. I make it $30 to go with pocket 10s, and the button puts in the call. Cosma and the straddle puts in the call. We flop ourselves an overpair on an 8-7-5 with 2 hearts board. The flop is pretty scary and connected, and given the fact I'm in between 2 opponents, I start with a check. The button bets out for $40, and Cosma puts in the call. Could check raise here, targeting 1 pair and flush draws, but instead I just put in the $40. We're off to the turn in a $250 pot, which comes about one of the worst cards in the deck. It's the 9 of hearts. Brings in a 4-liner to the straight. Any 6 has me beat now, and of course there is that heart flush available. Action checks over to the button now, who decides to bet out for $125. To put it simply, I hate this bet. It's just so small. It's a screaming please call. I think any ace or king high heart would just check behind here and try to hit their flush on the river. So I don't think I'm good here with my pocket 10s, but when Cosmo puts in the call, I'm getting a pretty great price here. There's 500 in the middle, only 125 for me to call. I have an open-ended straight draw, and I decide to put in the 125. This could be a small punt, but just in case someone has a set or 2 pair, I could turn a 6 for a 10-high straight or a jack for the jack high straight. So I toss in 2 chips here. Off the river we go, which doesn't help us. It's the queen of spades. Action checks over to the button once again, who now fires out even smaller for $100, and when Cosma calls, I have the easiest fold of all time. Sure enough, the button turns over king jack of hearts, so he was good on the turn. I shouldn't have called that 125, drawing to a straight. If you want to be one of the 7 lucky winners that gets flown down to Champions Club in Houston, Texas, and given a free buy-in to play with Lucas and myself, here's how to enter. I'm giving away 2 seats to channel members, so you have to hit join and become a channel member to be eligible for that. 2 people will be picked from from signing up on Club WPT Gold using code Wolfgang, and the remaining the same way as last year from that sign up sheet down in the description. As always, you need to be subscribed and comment on all 12 videos to be eligible. Good luck and happy Wolfmas. Alright, we switched tables. A bunch of fun players decided to run a game. We got Corey Eyring, we have Jessica over there to our right, and Abby to our left. So, are those your DMs, Abby?
Yeah.
How much to delete the video? A lot of very fun players here, a lot of vlog-worthy hands. There's an open to 15. Jessica puts in the call, and I'm looking down at pocket sixes. We're playing the knit game as well. That's why Corey and a few other guys are standing. So of course, I'm gonna be aggressive here with pocket sixes, make it $75 to go. Both players put in the call, heads up to a flop we go, which comes ace king 3. What a flop for us. Sure, I just have third pair, but this is gonna smash my range, so I bet out for $125. The first player folds, but Jessica's a non-believer. She puts in the call. All right, time to load the clip here on the 7 of clubs turn. Let's represent our range here. She shouldn't have any aces or kings or ace king suited. I decided to count out my stack here and figure out what the best bet size is here to let her know that we are playing for stacks by the river. With 40 in the middle, I bet almost pot here for $375, and she pretty quickly folds, and I turn over pocket sixes, which apparently was not good.
I was looking at his YouTube mystery and he was a f***ing nit.
After that whole speech, she lets me know she had ace 10 of spades, so she folded top pair there. I don't know how she does it against me here in the knit game nonetheless, but I'm pretty stoked to take down a nearly $900 pot. All right, I $10 straddle it. There's a few limpers over to me, and I make it $40 to go with the jack king off. Chris puts in the call, so heads up to a flop we go, which comes ace 4-4 rainbow, and Chris checks it over to me. I down bet to 25, and he puts in the call, which brings in the 3 of spades on the turn. 140 in the middle, and now I pot it for $125, and Chris can't hold on any longer. He folds his cards, and of course, I have to show these Germans, these Austrians, that I came to play here. I'm not just a nit. It's time to have some fun with king jack offsuit. Ship that pot over to me, dealer.
Jessica will never call me a nit again.
Dankeschön. Cheers. All right, I $10 straddle it once again, and there's a raise to $30. The player to my right puts in the call, and I look down at the best hand, pocket aces. What a dream spot to be in. I'm coming in for a large 3-bet to $175. Just Justin in the cutoff puts in the call, and off to a flop we go, which comes jack 4 deuce with 2 hearts. There's $382 in the middle, and I like around a half pot size bet here. I go a little bit too small to the tune of $125, but that keeps Justin on the hook. He puts in the call. The pot is now $632, and the turn comes the king of diamonds. Hopefully Justin doesn't have a hand like king jack suited or offsuit. Maybe he has a heart flush or a diamond flush. I count out my stack of around $800. It's kind of an overbet here if I decide to shove, but that's what I decided to do. $800 in the middle. If I have some draws here like those flushes or some straights like queen 10, ace queen, ace 10, I probably would go for a large sizing just like I decided to do here with my pocket aces. And Justin looks perplexed. He doesn't like this spot here. He looks like he's gonna fold, so I decide to pull out the very last stop, which is to offer the opponent to choose one of my cards. Obviously, I want him to choose the ace of diamonds because that means I could have some flush draws. If he just chooses the ace of clubs, well, I don't have the heart or diamond flush draw, making it more likely that he folds. He chooses the ace of diamonds, so that's a great card for us, and then calls it off. The river card pairs the board with the king of hearts, and I table my hand, and he lets us know he had pocket eights.
All right, say what I am. Say it.
So if I don't offer to show a card there when it looked like he was gonna fold on the turn, he doesn't put in the call, and we don't win another $800. So you guys can thank me for some of my table play in that one. All right, pocket aces pretty much played themselves there in the last hand. Let's go to work here with jack 10 of diamonds. There's a raise to 30 and a call to my right. I 3-bet it to 125, and both super pros fold, so none of them want to play back against me. They thought I was tight going into the session, and I'm showing them that us Americans have a bit of game.
What does Tony G say? On your bike, back to your country.
All right, straddles on for $10. Jessica makes it $20 to go. I look down at 7-8 of spades and make it $60. The player to my left calls, seat 1 calls, seat 2 calls, and Jessica calls. We're going 5 ways to the flop here in a $300 pot, and I have 8 high. The flop doesn't help us one bit. It comes Jack, Jack, 6 rainbow, and the action checks through. When the turn comes the King of Hearts and it checks to me for a second time, well, I just can't help myself. I'm gonna bet out here and try to win this pot. There's no way I'm winning at Showdown unless I make a pair on the river, but I don't want to go with option B. I decide to fire out for 100 and Cinco de Mayo, and hopefully everybody folds. Seat 1, who just called it off there with pocket 8s, he decides he wants to come in here for 155 bucks, puts in the call, which we don't love to see, and the river card now comes the 9 of spades. Obviously everybody else folded, so it's heads up here, and Justin checks it over to me once again. Well, when we get called on the turn, nothing for us to do here other than go for another bet. We can't just check behind here after bloating the pot and not trying to take this one down. When he calls the turn, he could still have hands like Queen 10 or Ace Queen, Ace 10, some heart draws, maybe a king that if we fire out large here, we can get the fold representing a jack. After all, we did bet into 4 other opponents, so our line is pretty strong here, and I'm gonna put him to the test. $425 is all that stands in between Justin and this $1,000 pot. He's in a tough spot here. He's scratching his head. He doesn't know what to do. Ultimately, relinquishes his cards. He folds, and I have to show Jessica once again that 8-7 of spades is not a made hand.
Jessica's never calling me a nit again. I heard the word nit one time and I made it my mission this session to prove her wrong.
And $1,000 is our reward. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the last hand of the night. Obviously, the pocket aces hand was the best one there, but I'm really proud about all the bluffs I showed and just really stepped up my game here to compete with the top Euro pros. I was in for $1,000, never had to rebuy, which is great news. Out for $22.15, so a profit of $12.15, putting us over our goal at the beginning of this challenge of $7,000. Obviously, I'm going to keep trying to run it up in the next few videos. Wolfmas 10 is coming out tomorrow. Make sure you click on that when it hits your newsfeed. Good luck on the felt, you guys. And as always, I'll catch you tomorrow in the next video. Peace.